Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 43 of the MadCast. I'm here with my co-host, MadCast. Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 44 of the MadCast. I am here with my co-host, MadCast Munsa.
Good evening.
MadCast Andromeda Cat.
Hello.
And MadCast Mayday.
What be cracking?
What be cracking? That's...
That video is the bomb.
Is
that
it?
video gets me amped up, and I just want to wreck stuff.
I love the music in it. The music is super good.
So, if you caught us coming in here, we just got a new intro video. I hope you all enjoyed that. That was put together by MadCast Jobotu. Video footage was MadCast Mayday, and the music was done by MadCast Malaka. Thank you to all of the people who helped put that together. It's pretty fucking fantastic, if I do say so myself. So, how's everybody been? Let's start off with Andromeda. Since she's joining us on a permanent basis, how was your week and what you've been playing?
I'm really good. My week has been really good. I am super excited because I actually just bought Mass Effect 2. I played the first one, but never the second. So I'm pretty excited to start playing that.
Ooh. Mass Effect is my favorite video game series. I don't care what anyone says about Mass Effect 3. I loved it.
I've been told that it was a travesty that I hadn't played 2. So I was like, alright, I gotta
It
rectify
is.
that then.
It is. I'm happy for you right now. I am extremely excited for you because Mass Effect is amazing. So good. Alright. Anything else? Now
Nope,
let's give you the official
good.
welcome here. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. She's now a part of this crazy crew that we have here.
I'm happy to be here.
Oh. Alright, Melissa, what you been up to?
Man, I pulled a relic out of the past.
Indeed.
I pulled a relic out of the past that I've been playing. The first Super Mario RPG for the SNES.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I pulled that out of the back pocket, and I have been playing through it, and it is such a treat.
Still amazing.
And
Dino is still my favorite.
which one?
Dino. Dino's the best.
It's just such a treat to play through, and just how the graphics hold up, that like isometric view, and it's just everything in that works. And
It's weird
so
because
fun.
it is still a really pretty game considering it was done on the Super Nintendo.
And
But that is definitely one worth going back to.
so that's mostly what I've done, other than the usual League, Borderlands 2 excursions. Apart from that, it's been pretty standard. I also pulled out, before I pulled out the Super Mario RPG, I've been replaying Chrono Trigger as I usually do every 2 to 3 years.
Oh, Chrono Trigger
Yes.
is so good.
I mean, wonderful.
I had never
That's-
played that, but I bought it when it was released on DS. Such a good game.
Chrono Trigger? Man.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when that first came out. I was like, I'm going to play this. And I was like, mind is blown. This game is amazing.
I dropped $80 on that game when it first came out. $80
Jesus,
for a
80. Why'd you
Super
pay so
Nintendo
much?
card.
Wow, that's hardcore.
Worth it. Worth it.
Been bowling. You must have been cutting all kinds of lawns. Hey man, that is how I fueled my video game obsession as a kid. I cut lawns every chance the summer hit. When it wasn't, I was shoveling snow. But I kept me money for video games. Video games and shoes. And that happens to still be the same in my adulthood.
What have you been doing, Mr. Prince?
Well, obviously I've been playing a metric crap ton of Borderlands. For whatever reason, I cannot stop playing that game now. Like, I got my assassin up to 50, and then I just kept playing. And I've been trying to get through all the side quests on True Vault Hunter mode before I start Ultimate Vault Hunter. I dabbled in that yesterday, and that is relatively difficult. Captain Flint, he kicked my ass, like, after you left the other night, probably about 10 times where I was like, you know what, I don't feel like losing any more money.
Random loot drops, man. Random loot drops are such a horrible addiction, but I can't
really
stop.
is.
I can't stop.
Outside of that, I've been playing my Monster Hunter Ultimate on my 3DS. That is a lot of addictive fun. Not a lot of story structure, but killing monsters, making your own gear, killing better monsters, bigger monsters is addictive. And I can see why the Japanese love that game so much. It's amazing. Obviously dabbled in League, and I just recently got Netflix, so I've been watching a bunch of indie movies. But I do. On the list right now is Jeff Who Lives at Home.
Oh, I watched that one, I think, about a month ago.
Yeah, I haven't started it, but that was the one that I was about to watch tonight after this is done, and after I find out whether I'm going to get a BlizzCon ticket or not. So we'll see. Because BlizzCon tickets are going on sale in about 2 minutes, and I have a friend who's going to be picking me up one. So that is what I'm looking forward to. How about you, Mayday? What have you been up to?
Well, every one of those clips featured in that video, well, yeah, I had to play them to a certain extent, and then go through the footage and pick out a small snippet to send to Jabo to insert into said video. So, I had to play all of those throughout that time. Beyond that, obviously been playing with you guys some Borderlands, because I only have like a 20-some-odd character, and that's all I have. So
We're getting there. We're getting there.
right, but I do wish I could see more of it, but in due time, I suppose.
Indeed.
But I did pick up Battlefield Premium, since it is half off right now. So, yeah, I'll have to jump into that.
Dabble in the DLC.
Indeed, I hear there's like dirt bikes and stuff, which could be a humorous thing for all kinds of shenanigans and video fun. So it could be interesting.
Don't you just snipe, though? Don't you just sit back and shoot people in the head? Isn't that your thing?
Be that as it may.
I can personally attest to my head having been shot off many a time by one MadCast Mayday.
It is an odd fixation of enjoyment I get from popping people in the head. I will admit, but it keeps the balance of the insanity of running a community and taking out the frustration on some, poor and sometimes unsuspecting, friendly people's heads. You gotta have your balance somewhere, I suppose.
I guess. that'll
That is
work.
slightly alarming.
A little bit weird,
This
but
colors every conversation I will have with Mayday for the coming future.
But you know what? I do not own a single firearm, though, in real life, so there you go. Take your damn violence in video games and shove it straight up your ass.
Here,
Oh
here.
my.
All right, so let's
Damn.
talk a little bit about MadCast this week. I got to cast some ARAM fun this week for MadCast Legends Week 2 with Sleipner. And that was fun. We had a bit of no-shows for a couple of teams, but the Pentakillers and Tower Divers didn't play each other. The Pentakillers took the series 2-0. You're actually on the Pentakillers team there, Andromeda Cat. I saw you with those Blitzcrank hooks in that game,
Yeah.
too.
I got very lucky, and I kind of used the cheaty Blitzcrank again. I Blitzcrank. It's a little hard to see his grab there. So we had a really good team, and we got really lucky.
Yeah, you're landing a ridiculous amount of hooks there. I was entertained. I was like, how come she doesn't play like that when I'm in game?
Right? It's so true, though.
Like, I'm gonna land all the hooks in this ARAM, but we get to regular
But
game.
in a real game, no, not gonna happen. I'll grab all the minions for you, though. You know, bring those right to you.
I appreciate that. Thanks. But that was a fun series. I look forward to next week continuing on the MadCast Legends because it's been a lot of fun, I think, so far, and I think the community has liked it as well. Moving on from that, MadCast Monthly put out a new article over this past week. My hobbies. You want to talk about that a little bit, Monson?
So, as is the story with the genesis of a lot of what I write, I started by drinking heavily.
A true writer.
And the
Inspiration
stars
in a
just
bottle.
aligned that night, and I was just getting good vibrations from everywhere. And I don't know, it's just I was feeling so good that night. I just had a different lens because a lot of the time, like Mayday said, the reason he pops people's heads off is because he needs to relieve it out, and sometimes those stresses can be overwhelming when you've got responsibility within the community. And just that night, I had it flowing, and I looked at the community in a different lens, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah. People should take a look. It was pretty well done. So yeah. Good stuff. Look forward to seeing more from you, sir.
Thank you.
And other news, we got a few new members that just joined us this week. I'd like to welcome MadCast Exiler 7, MadCast Guitar Noob 16, MadCast Banik, MadCast Stank Cobra, and MadCast Holy Assassin. You are now part of the crew, folks. Now you get to get harassed by me when I join your channels randomly. You can't really do anything about it. Stank, however, yeah, you get special harassment, Stank. I just want you to know. Well, I give him stuff because he is like a member of the Prince fan club. Him and Sotar. Sotar may not admit it, but
Prince,
he's
you do not have a fan club. Let's
Two
be
people.
real.
You got a president and a vice president. That's
exactly.
not a fan
That's all
club.
you need.
No,
That's all you need
no,
to get
Prince,
started.
No.
That is my fan club. Don't hate. You're just mad because you ain't got one.
Oh, you don't even know. I have a fan club.
You're trying. I see you.
Hey,
see you're a
Prince.
stealth cat. You can't have a fan club when you're stealth.
Hey, Prince, your fan club
What's
will never measure up, dude. Like, I've got a fan club, and it's like 150 members strong.
Well, that's cheating.
Yeah, that is cheating.
I don't think
guys are
so.
just jealous.
I believe the title I have retained is founder. So
Whatever, Mayday. Whatever.
Whatever.
Anywho, in other MadCast news, MadCast promoted MadCast Poliar to RFM this week. So congratulations, MadCast Poliar. And then we have a contest going right now. We are redesigning our logo. I'll let Mayday touch on this a little bit more since it has to be a bit of his baby because our logo's been around for as long as I know.
in reality, it's simply a contest to find out. Well, mostly it's to update it, kind of modernize it for our current time. Like the current logos we have are the same logos that we've pretty much been sporting, for the past 6 years since we've been in existence. We had a different logo at one point, but the current rendition or edition of logo that we have probably was made like 6 months or so after we were founded. So that style logo has just been floating around for that long. We're just seeing what other people might be able to come up with as far as coming up with a bit of a modern logo or maybe a newer looking logo. And just because we are looking to get some other versions of our logo does not mean that the current logos will just be deleted. They'll still be there, floating around, but we need to see what we could possibly come up with.
Indeed, indeed. I like it. So if any of you other FMs are out there listening, and you have a little bit of artistic vision, you get some mad cash if you win the contest. And yeah, so put out your submissions. We do appreciate it.
One more MadCast plug before we continue.
Sure.
That our yearly donation drive is going live right now. And in preparation for the just mentioned giveaways, you get 6 times the Mad Cash during this donation drive in return. So, if you're out there listening and you're a member, consider donating.
Or if you're not a member, if you're a candidate, it gets mentioned in your candidate thread that you are a donator. Not saying that you're buying your way in, but we do appreciate it from anybody, even if you're not in the community. You just want to see a community like ours thrive and continue to. We do appreciate any donations you can toss in.
I have one more MadCast announcement also.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm trying to do a book club. We are going to be reading Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. There's only a couple days left to read it, because the plan is to throw up a discussion thread on the 27th. But I hope people have read it, or if you want to, get out on it and read it, and hopefully we'll have a really good discussion.
It is a really phenomenal book. I enjoyed it very, very much. I read it multiple times. As a matter of fact, I think I brought it up several podcasts ago. So it's a good book, and I look forward to the various discussion that we'll have. So whether you're a community member or not, you can join in the discussion. We'll be talking about, you said the 27th, correct?
Yep, 27th.
Right, sweet. All right, so let's move on to what's been happening in the news. I'll start off with Capcom here. Apparently, Capcom wants to cut their ties with the West, the US of A and Europe, and basically, instead of having us develop some of their games, outsourcing this way, they want to use those resources to increase DLC in the games that they have now and the IPs that they have now. I don't know. The Devil May Cry last one, which was pretty well received, but it came up a little short of their sales goals, was developed in the UK by Ninja Theory, but it was pretty well received from everybody. And they're also doing the DuckTales remake, Away For It, which is in the US. But if they cut their ties to the US, do you think that's going to help them or no?
Man, the only if you are any game company, publisher, developer, otherwise, and you want to know how to do DLC right, you get on the phone and you call Gearbox for how to do DLC right. The problem is, I really don't think the problem with Capcom is anything in what they are making, and so is how they are making it that's really fallen up short. I think they're having a lot of the same problems that Squeenix is having, because they're putting out a lot of crap, and they have unrealistic projections for it. And I gotta think internally, because Capcom and Square Enix both come from kind of the same business tradition, and they have had incredible problems, I think, adapting their internal processes to what gamers want. They can't bring it in an economical manner, and I think this might be a continuation of just them doing it wrong.
I mean, just a quick hit on the whole DLC thing. Uh, Capcom didn't exactly get over well with the fans with their last DLC thing that they did. When which was this last year, I think, sometime they had Street Fighter X
Yeah,
Tekken
Street Fighter.
that came out, and they had on the disc DLC that was locked, but they made you pay for it after the game released. And there was a huge uproar about this because it was people were hacking the game afterwards and so on and so forth. But honestly, I think they kind of asked for it at that point because you're putting stuff on the disc and then you're locking it until you can release it as downloadable content. Like, people were rightfully pissed, and if they're going to continue to do that kind of thing, they're not going to get over with the fans at all. People aren't going to buy their games, and if they keep making the same kind of games, if you ask me, another Street Fighter game every year, and ignore the fans who've been asking for an updated Mega Man game, they're also not going to get over it too well. So,
And you know
that's
what's
just my
really
opinion on
amusing
that.
is I think Capcom has one of the examples outside of Gearbox that had a good DLC with the whole when the new Devil May Cry was released, and everyone was like, "We like how Dante used to look," and Capcom's like, "All right, you guys want us to create additional art assets? Here it is. You can buy it from us as a
Yeah, I
DLC."
thought that was really good. Like,
Yeah,
that's
that
a good way to
wasn't
go
bad.
about it.
That's like the ideal. That's what DLC should be. It's almost like Kickstarter without Kickstarter. Enough
DLC
people
is
want
fan
it.
service, if you ask me. That's all it
Yeah.
is. It's fan
It
service.
really is, yeah.
Like, if you take a look at Far Cry Blood Dragon, I don't know a single person who has Far Cry 3 who is not extremely hyped for Blood Dragon. It's like a kickback to the 80s. It's got robots. It's got explosions. It's all fan service there. And that was what the intention of it was. So why not do more of that? If you want to cut your ties with the States, then give the fans what they want and stop trying to bullshit us.
Word.
Word. All right. Another good thing that I saw this week, and it made me kind of happy for gamers everywhere and game companies. Razer had a pretty, they had a pretty crappy thing that happened to them this past week. There was a third party who was apparently giving out 90% off coupons for Razer accessories and products. This was not something that Razer had known about, nor did they expect to go out there that way. But it went viral, and there were thousands of orders made to Razer within a couple of hours. The thing is, Razer just said, we're going to take care of it. Wasn't us, but guess what? We're going to take care of it even though we could have canceled all the orders legally. They were not able to do any computers or anything like that. So all this is just for accessories. They weren't letting people do multiple units of the same product, but if you were using the coupon and you ordered, say, a mouse and a keyboard, some headphones, they're giving you 90% off on all of that. I think this is one of the coolest things that I've ever seen, like, a company like this do.
That's pretty awesome. Like, it's really good on them, especially because it was like a third party that was testing their shopping cart for them, had, made the coupon just to, like, do tests on stuff and then left it in the system unbeknownst, and then someone found it. So really good on Razer for honoring that.
Yeah, and it was Razer UK, so they don't do the full systems there, so they didn't have to worry about it being like a laptop, like the Razer Blade or the Razer Edge tablet. But that's still pretty good on them, I think. That was a pretty legit thing to do. They didn't promise the fans that this stuff was going to come like in days or anything like that, but they said they're going to fill all the orders that they got. So that is
Good on 'em.
legit. Good on Razer. Another like good on gaming news. There's a disabled gamer that got a pentakill in League of Legends with no hands. How sweet is that? I will actually link the video for this because this was pretty sweet. I saw it on Kotaku. Um,
Well, he streams League regularly too.
Yeah, he's a regular streamer. He's not like the one guy who's faking being disabled. In playing League of Legends, he got out of his chair and started to walk around, and then said he wasn't disabled. They had donated that guy $20,000, but this dude pulled off a penta, which is one of the rarest things to get in the game. Like one in every 1,500 games, they said, or is it more than that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, one in every 1,500 matches. Now, one in every 1,500 matches, but this guy was playing with a pen in his mouth and a foot pedal. That is legit. The video is
super
pretty
impressive.
Awesome too.
Very cool.
I think this is the same guy that did Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. He did a gold solo run. I think it's the same guy. I'm not sure, but his handle sounds familiar.
Good on him. That is good stuff. So I saw something really crazy the other day. I was also looking for news. I saw that some Goodwill shopper found a copy of what is it? The game this is the Holy Grail of NES gaming, the stadium events for the NES. The last time a copy of this was found, it sold on eBay for about $15,000. She found, or $13,000. She found it at a thrift shop for $7.99.
Nice.
Right? That is a come up. She said she went to a game store in her city, and they had priced it for her, but they said they don't have the money on hand to make an appropriate offer of the game, and they were going to like put it up for auction for her and then give her a portion of the proceeds. But she decided she was going to put it up herself. Started the biz at $12,000, and she's going to use it to pay for college.
Well, good
Legit.
for her.
Cool.
How much
Very
of a
cool.
plus one is that? You're walking around in a thrift shop, you see a game that you know is worth a metric fuck ton of money, and you're like, oh, sweet, $7.99. You get out of there, you're probably like jumping for joy, skipping, clicking your heels together like a leprechaun. I could only imagine what I would have been like if I saw that.
Well,
Then
in the
again-
broader sense, it's kind of cool because, like, that's kind of like another little step for games in that, you know, now, I mean, it's been going for a while. Like, I actually had offers on my Earthbound cart of 200 plus.
Oh, yeah.
And I just think it's kind of cool because that's another step. Like, comic books got there, classic, you know, reels of movies and whatnot. You know, it's just another step as gaming becomes more prolific.
Yeah, I flipped my PC copy of Final Fantasy VII for $180.
Nice!
Wow.
It ran like crap on the PC. It was one of the worst games I've ever installed, actually, because it needed to be patched. It was all bad, but apparently people still want it. $180, not too bad of a come up for that.
No, definitely not.
So, and news that makes me super effing happy, there's a new 3DS Zelda game that is set as a sequel to A Link to the Past.
So excited.
I
So
am,
excited.
like, when I heard about this on my Twitter, I was like, what? I was like, my 3DS is about to get played.
Oh my god.
A Link to the Past is like one of my favorite games ever, and they're making a 3DS version of it. So good.
Exciting.
So good. So exciting. So that is gaming news to get pumped about. A Link to the Past 2.
It's gonna be... I can't
Go
wait
ahead.
to see what they do with it, you know? I
mean,
can't
it's
wait to see what they
Zelda.
do with it.
So
Yeah.
exciting.
In other kind of sad news, and I mean, I guess I don't know what I was expecting with it, but Bethesda announced that they are doing no more Skyrim DLC. A couple of people were
For.
outraged about this.
Fallout
However,
4.
the what?
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4. You think that's they're working on now?
I just want it to be true. I don't care how unrealistic it is. I just want it to be true.
Maybe. I don't know. I honestly, with the amount of content that's in the DLC that they have, I don't think they shorted anyone. But I think a lot of people were expecting one more DLC, and they were upset. I honestly, for what they've done with their DLCs, and I believe all of the Morrowind games, they have been what we used to traditionally call expansion packs, like huge, almost able to be standalone games as DLC. So I don't get the disappointment. Apparently, Dragonborn DLC was like 20 plus extra hours of content. I don't understand how this is something to be outraged about.
It
But
seems like
Why
Skyrim
isn't
has kind of
anything
run its
something to
course.
be outraged about? We are on the internet.
Welcome to the internet. I mean, when I read the announcement and I saw it on their Twitter, I just saw people like spazzing, and I was like, "Well, it is Twitter. It is Twitter." And for news for Mayday to be happy about, SimCity 2.0 patch to arrive. What was it? Yesterday? Did it happen, Mayday?
Yeah, the patch did drop.
Did it fix the problems?
It did a lot of fixing as far as various like in-game issues, as far as how some of the features were functioning. However, even with that nice big patch, a lot of the mainstay problems, like a lot of the ones that like really hurt the game, have gone unaddressed. The biggest one of them all being the city rollback issues. That is still a problem that is commonly occurring over and over, and they have not addressed it yet. So they might have made it more enjoyable so that things actually, like, you know, you don't get conga lines from your services and all your fire trucks, even if you have like, you know, 30 fire trucks, they don't go to one fire when your entire city's burning down.
Right.
Apparently they spread out now. That's all good and everything, but you have all that fun with that, and then suddenly you get a message, there's something wrong with our processing of your city, and it boots you to menu. You load back into your game and find out you just lost like 3 hours of work.
Ouch.
So, yeah. Thank you for the effort, Maxis, EA. It's really Maxis more than anyone. But, you're still not doing it right.
You're not done yet. We need more. Oh, that's sad. I had high hopes for SimCity. What's it? 5. Yeah, I had high hopes for it, but I didn't pick it up after. I remember I was away for spring break when it dropped, and all I see on my Twitter feed is SimCity won't work. I can't get logged in. I can't get logged in. What the fuck is wrong with my city? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, maybe I won't pick this up when I get back home.
Like, thanks for taking the bullet for me.
Right.
It's
Go ahead.
like, yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, I still have a glimmer of hope that they will eventually address these. It's just a big question of when. And in the foreseeable, like, immediate future, there's really zero indication that they understand fully how to fix that problem. All their fans know how they can fix that problem, but they won't do it. They want to fix that problem, you have to remove the necessity of saving cities to your dumbass servers. Because your servers are causing all the problems.
But it's an MMO.
Bullshit. You try and feed that shit to me.
I was waiting for that.
No.
Oh, man.
Here's the thing, Munza. An MMO, of course, requires an online server to be connected to always. The thing is typically in an MMO, you move a foot in-game, the server knows that you moved a foot in game. You don't have a server that says, hey, we lost track of your character. Poof, it's gone. There is one other game that did that early on. Good old Blizzard. Oh, Diablo 3. The things you've shown us.
It just, like, from my understanding, is they're not backing up, like, whatever you're doing in the game instantaneously is happening on, like, an every 20, 30-minute periods, or sometimes longer from the issues that I've been hearing about people, so, yeah.
I think we'll have more on this subject in a broader sense in a few minutes.
So, let's tackle the first one I think we're going to talk about here. Actually, Andromeda Cat, I will let you start this one off. Our talks about constructive criticism here.
Oh, well, yeah, so Kunta Kinte had posted on the forums recently about constructive criticism, and I thought that was an interesting topic to talk about, particularly, how do people want to receive criticism in-game? How do you make it constructive? And I just kind of wanted to get everyone's thoughts on it.
Difficult.
Well, I think it depends on the game, too. Because he specifically was talking about, it sounded like League of Legends in his posts. And in League of Legends, it's a fine line to walk to try to tell someone how they need to be playing without coming off like a complete douche or condescending to their way of playing. Because maybe they're doing something completely wild. I know I like to randomly play games where I play AD, Sona or something like that. That's kind of frowned upon in the meta, but whatever, But the way I think of it, and this is just the way I kind of do it when I'm playing in ranked games. First off, it's easier to be a critic of someone in a game when you're doing well. I think that is one of the most overlooked things, because if you're doing bad and you're telling someone that they're building wrong or they're doing something wrong, they're instantly going to look at you like, yeah, well, you're 0-7, buddy. You obviously know what you're doing. And if someone's telling me that, and what am I supposed to think? Like, I main Vayne, but right now I'm doing terrible as Misfortune. So you play Vayne like I tell you to play Vayne because you're going to do well. You have to, I think, a good part of it is also being proactive in what you want someone to do without being a dick about it. Like at the start of the game, you say, hey, Jarvan, how are you building this game? Jarvan's like, well, I'm going straight DPS build. I'm rushing a Brutalizer, but your team has no tank. You're like, hey, Jarvan, can you do me a favor? Do me a solid, man. Build a Randuin's this game. Like, we're going to need it so we can initiate in team fights. And they'd be like, all right, maybe that they'll take it lightly. Like, hey, maybe I could build that and help out with the team composition. But if you're like, I'm down in my lane and I'm getting ganked every minute and I haven't been warding or something like that, and you tell Jarvan to build something, he's like, yeah, I need to carry you because you're bad. I don't know. It's just the way you have to approach the situation, and it's going to change game by game because some people don't want to be talked to at all when you talk to them in game. And I'm sure you've been in a game where someone's like, you're like, hey, can you do? And then they're like, yeah, fuck you, buddy. It's happened, and you're going to get that in League of Legends, I think. I don't know. What's your take on it, Monza?
I treat any game, or anything, where I'm playing with people that I don't know, that I treat how I drive. Everyone else is an asshole, and they are out to get me. And that's why I've never been in a car accident.
Oh, Monza, no!
Well, honestly, if I'm playing with my crew, with the people, which is a growing crew, I'm always about getting to know people better. I know that I can say things to them, and I'm not basing that entirely on that, oh God, I hope I'm just shooting dice and hoping that this guy or gal is going to be receptive. When I'm playing with the people I know, even if I'm doing bad, as you highlighted, Prince, they know how I work and everything. So I really don't have a problem with it like that. As for just in the general, trying to rally your team for that win, I think in certain games, Team Fortress 2, Call of Duty, the games that are faster paced, and some of the RTSs, it's really hard to offer constructive criticism there because before too long you're going to be in another game, and it's like, what's the point? Then you've got
There's
the
not the
MOBA,
investment.
got the MOBA genre, where you're talking you're going to invest up into an hour in each instance of the game you play. So there you've got this whole thing like, well, I want to tell this guy this, and you outlined perfectly what I think the strategies are for it, Prince. But I think a lot of it kind of just gotta. That's the outlook I take. You know, I take very Machiavellian view. I think it's easy to be. It's easy to be. You know, when my team wins, I'm like, the first thing that's going on in my head is like, man, I wonder what kind of dickheads these people would have been if we'd have given up first blood, or if I hadn't have pulled off that jungle gank.
You're so cynical.
I am self-admitted. And then I think when you do good, when I do bad, I'm wondering like, man, if I'd have pulled this off right, or if this had gone different, I bet these people, we'd all be chatting like best friends.
I say, go ahead. I'll let you go.
Go for it.
I was going to say, so the way I like to view it is, I think, so everyone's in the game to win, usually. There's very rare instances where that's not true. But by and large, most people are in it to win it. And I think that, and you kind of touched on this, Prince, I think people respond better to a little bit of sugar, you know, coat their ego a little. I like to, if I'm going to offer criticism or suggestions, which I generally don't do all that often, I try to make sure that I'm framing it as a question, as advice, not as, I know this for sure, you're playing it wrong. And I like to try to make it something that they're doing to help me versus something that I'm just asking them to do, if that makes sense. You know, if I ask the jungler, I might be like, hey, I'm support, I'm a little gold starved, do you think you could pick up the locket this game? Because I think that'd really help our team, but I'm really struggling gold-wise, and it'd be better if we could get it sooner.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to go about it too, and that's generally how I do it. Like, make it like you're asking them because they're awesome or they're doing well, and then making it seem like, yeah, since you're doing so well this game, you're doing awesome. You know, maybe you can do this to help out our team.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes when I'm in game in the league, especially ranked games, I generally have something of once a cynical attitude that everybody's an asshole, and just expect that out of them.
I go into every game thinking that every person in there is a. This is gonna sound so corny. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm gonna admit this. I go into every game thinking I'm potentially gonna make 4 new friends right now, and I just try to be as chipper as I can. And if somebody else gets negative, I try to turn it around as much as I possibly can. And that's how I go about it.
You know,
I go about it as
I'm closer to that in everyday life than I am in video games. I think the internet fuckwad theory.
See, I believe everybody is a friendly. Not everyone is, but most people really want to be friendly people, and they want to have an enjoyable game too. And it's just that it gets stressful.
Nope. I am straight in that reptilian brain tribal shit. If you are not in my tribe, you are a piece of that is just the lens that has been crafted to me through a lot of grit and grime. Like, I recognize it, and I want to be different, but I find I get the greatest return when I have the greatest success when I'm like, man, I need something good to happen to, get these people on the right motivation, because that's just how I look at it. And it's
generally, I think, in particular case of League of Legends, when I go into the lobby, because almost every time I play now is draft mode, if there are assholes in the lobby, that's generally going to stay the same for the rest of the game. So when you see people like both call mid, and one's like, well, I don't care what you say, I'm going mid. That person is most likely going to be the person to bitch when someone gives up first blood or something like that. That I find it to be almost every single time. So if you arguing in the lobby about positions or where you're going to play or something like that, or if the person's like, yo, I don't care where I go. If I'm last pick, hey, I'll fill. You're usually going to have a positive game, and in most times that I've played in games like that, you win. It's like this amazing theory of being nice to people wins you games. However, competitiveness also brings the nasty out of people, and that's what happens. So I like your attitude on it, Andromeda, that you
I
might
will
make more new
continue
friends.
to wear my rose-colored glasses.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't necessarily take that same outlook. However,
You're not as bad as me, Prince.
No, I'm not. Honestly, when people like go crazy on me in games now, I'm like, I was having a bad day a couple days back, and I just wanted a hug, and that was all I needed. And after I got a hug, I felt so much better about my life. So I was like, it doesn't matter what happened in this game. I'm gonna drink a cup of tea. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna have some fresh air. Maybe go look at the lake, and today will be great. And then they're just like, what?
Now I want a hug.
That is the attitude I take in. I don't troll with negative things or anything like that. If someone says anything extremely negative to me now, I just say, hey, maybe you just need a hug.
See, this is why I know a lot of big words, because when I'm playing with some puppies, not in a ranked, I've gotten to the point where I don't do it in ranked, but if I'm in a normal and I've got someone on my team who is just laying into me, I'm like, let me break out the thesaurus here and see how intelligent sounding I can insult this guy.
Mansa, you should learn to use the mute button. Just ignore those people and move on.
I mean, I don't do it in ranked because I feel I have a greater investment in that. But man, if some guy is just really out of line, and it's usually when I'm defending someone else, like that's really what gets me now. Is like someone who's just having a rough time and is trying and is still staying positive, and there's some D-bag just laying into them. I'm like, man, it's go time! It's go time!
Month's the defender of the innocent.
See?
Oh.
Anyhow.
Right. So let's hit on our last topic here. Since we got to move on from that one. On Kotaku this past week, there was a post from an anonymous game developer. And basically, this game developer went on to say in so many words that we need better video game publishers. They are causing multiple game studios to go bankrupt. They're making modern games cost more, and he's not a fan, or she is not a fan. I read through this. I have a few different ideas on my take on it, but I'm going to let one of you start off. I'll start with you, Monte. I know you've read over it. Let me know what you think about this. I'm post it up in the chat as well.
What I see when I see decisions that publishers are making, what I see is a lot of what this article hints at and highlights, but doesn't really explore. It's like the publishers have all the tools. They've got so many, especially like EA. Like, there was a time where I would have been excited as heck to hear that EA was acquiring all these studios.
Sure.
And when I see a coalition and a gathering of talent, I like to get excited about it. The reason I don't is because I automatically know that with these big publishers, they are going to misappropriate and misassign all this talent. We have all these horrible trends, innovations for innovation's sake, shoehorning in multiplayer where it doesn't belong, shoehorning in microtransactions where they don't belong. And I'm a huge proponent of microtransactions and a lot wider than I think is mainstream acceptable. It's like, how? I don't understand why these people, the people that can make decisions, do not recognize the unique aspects of their medium and emphasize those when they're making business decisions. And I don't have a follow-up for that. I just don't understand. I think all that needs to change is the people at the top need to totally have their mentality refocused on what makes a game. And I am not entirely out of the blue with this. Blizzard just released that they said that the auction house was a terrible idea. We've got the continually changing dialogue from EA and Maxis about SimCity. Like, those are the two top publishers right now. Even Ubisoft had to make some apologies for, what the hell was it?
Their terrible DRM.
Yeah. I mean, all these publishers are making apologies, and I feel, and then I hear about all the features for the yearly releases, and that's like doublethink. That's some Orwellian shit right there. Like, that is prime doublethink right there.
Now, in this article, I think it mentioned something that I thought was pretty interesting. It says a lot of the publishers have an insecurity towards the medium of gaming. So what they're trying to make gaming more like is film. There's issue with that because gaming is more in-depth and interactive than film. And I think that's what a lot of the devs have been trying to get at. And that the publishers are making calls on video games changing XYZ and so on and so forth to make it more like a film. That makes it maybe somewhat aesthetically pleasing, but not so much as a game worth playing. I don't know how to feel about that, you know? Because it can work for certain games, but if you're forcing it for mainstream appeal, you're not going to get very far, I don't think. That's not what the devs have in mind. Andromeda, what's your take on this?
I don't know. Game developers have made a lot of poor choices recently. We've seen that. But I think there's also been good. I think stuff like Steam and we have more ability to get indie games easier to a larger variety of people, and I think that's helping us see more variance in games, and I think that'll help maybe spur the industry to make some changes and to make things better.
What Munson, I like the point that you made there about innovation for innovation's sake. That can be wasteful if a game is not meant to be played in that way, you know what I mean? Like, if you're putting a feature in a game that is not needed or not part of the developer's vision, and you're just like cutting and pasting something in there that's not really meant to be, does that make a game a worse off game? Well, yeah, it could potentially. My thing is, and it was brought up in one of the comments on this page. What is his name? I feel like I should cite him if I'm going to start talking about
Gunflame comment?
Yeah, Gunflame. He pointed out that there's a lot of inept people that work in development. And when I first read over this, I'm like, yeah, developers do need more freedom to make the games that they want to make. However, when some of these developers are putting out crap, the publisher also has to take crap for that too. Because I can guarantee you that EA has made some bad calls on video games, absolutely. Not enough to be the worst company in the world, as I've alluded to many other times. But to say that the developers didn't have any say in some of the bad calls that got made in some of their games, I think that is tremendous oversight from some of the people out there. And he also pointed out that a lot of indie games out there are poop. They are. And they're saying that is a good medium, but if you got a lot of studios putting out a lot of crap, and then you have to wade through the crap to get to the gems, then you're still going to run into a bunch of shitty developers. And I'm not saying developers shouldn't have more freedom to make calls on the games, but it got to go both ways. If the publisher has a vision of a game that they want to put out, and developers have a different vision entirely, then why are they making games together? I understand that sometimes it's not a choice, but you have to get out different ideas and different stuff like that. And that's why I really like Kickstarter, to be honest with you. That has been one of my big things for like Kickstarters, so that you don't have those clashing of heads between the publishers and developers. You have the fans, and the fans fund it or they don't, and that's that.
Kickstarter's interesting. I think we could devote an entire 2-hour-long episode to delving into Kickstarter and what it means for a variety of industries, including the gaming.
Yeah,
And I've been mulling over the whole night, because before we started, you've been telling me about the comment here, the Gunflame comment, and I look at it and I know the publisher-developer relationship is different with every development house and publisher.
absolutely.
But I think it's pretty piss poor to try and like move this argument to the middle, move the point of this argument to the middle by bringing developers in, because
Well, it was written
that's
by a
kind of the
developer.
publisher's job. If they're getting crap from their developers, they need to go in and deal with it. But then you have the problem is that that's what these publishers are doing for everybody. You can see it. As
Yeah.
Andromeda, you said you played through Mass Effect 1, you're about to play 2, I'm assuming you're going to move on to 3.
Probably. I mean, if 2 is good and it's supposed to
If
be.
you play them close enough, you will see how they're still great games, and they had to work a lot to tarnish BioWare, but you can see where the influences lie as EA became more closely entwined with BioWare's processes. The onus for this argument, and I don't like to get black and white very much, I'm a big gray area guy, but the onus for this is on the publishers.
I'm not disagreeing. The point. I mean, I was saying that his point is somewhat valid. That was pretty much what I was getting at, because I think that you have this idea, and this happens to developers too. If you see some of the conversations and stuff that they say on Twitter, everyone wants to make that AAA big bang game. And that's developers, and that's what the publishers want, and that's what the people have been like clamoring for, like in the mainstream audience.
Clamoring for, or have been trained to want.
See, I don't know. I don't know if it is there a difference between those. Really?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
But once again, the difference between those doesn't lie in short-term profitability. In short-term profitability,
absolutely
they're
not.
the same. For long-term sustainability, they're worlds apart.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's kind of why you had the issues that you had with a game like Dead Space 3. Dead Space 3 was supposed to be a survival horror game, but the problem was they made it a co-op action game. And that took some of the suspense out of the game. And a lot of people say that's on EA, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that either. Because after the DLC they put out, which basically fan service what they wanted, it was fun to play. So if you're having these issues, I'm still saying the issue is the relationship between the developer and the publishers. And when you have companies like EA and Activision swallowing up all these dev companies, then you're going to keep running into this, and all we're going to get is people trying to make that next AAA game, and nothing new and no innovation. And I'm tired of it, honestly. I mean, you can have a great game like BioShock Infinite, which is a sequel to a series that's already out there, but how many more BioShocks are we going to actually put up with? You know what I mean?
Well,
They're
and
not going
here's
to
the
keep
thing.
being amazing. I guarantee you they aren't.
Let me completely... If you look at it, I'm going to sound like I'm contradicting what I just said totally. Gamers need to stop buying this shit.
I have been preaching that for years. Shit.
I know I'm gonna have some people coming at me when they hear this, but stop buying Madden every year. Stop buying this crap. Stop buying Call of Duty. Stop buying Battlefield. Stop buying these overhyped one-shot AAA shitbags. Stop buying this crap. You
can't demand innovation and then
market
keep buying the
forces
same shit.
would have taken care of these problems a decade ago if people would just stop buying the crap. And now we are so there. We can be there. Because during a lot of gaming, when gamers were mostly kids, like, your parents would just buy you whatever, and they maybe wouldn't educate themselves on it. I think most people, they'd either get the impetus from the kids, and kids don't know anything. Come on, you know? And the parents, they're disaffected, like they just want to buy what looks good to them at a glance. So we had an excuse then. We're all grown up now, for the most part. Gamers are older. We're smarter. Stop buying this crap. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid.
I'm not disagreeing with that at all. And you know what though? It's somewhat been that has been the case somewhat, not a lot, but somewhat, because a lot of these companies that are making these next AAA titles are not selling what they expect to sell. Sure, you got the Call of Duties and the Halos that come out,
happening.
but there is some games like the Devil May Cry series. Even though this Devil May Cry was good, even though this last Tomb Raider game was good, the sales numbers have been under projections because they were expecting these games to sell 20 million copies. Well, that's not going to happen.
Hold on. That's a different can of worms there. That, once again, is going back to what I said previous. Like, they just have unreal expectation. Like, they
well,
don't
that's part of the problem, though.
They don't have their... Yeah, it is part of the problem, but
developers.
That's entirely publisher side. That they don't have streamlined processes for budgeting these games and enforcing the budgets so that the final product could be profitable.
Because that was pointed out in the article, that the development is becoming more and more expensive because publishers have an idea of what they want, devs have an idea of what they want. Devs make this game this way. Publishers come in and say, we don't like that. We don't think that's going to sell. Do this. So they have to go back to the drawing board, put in the XYZ thing, which costs them more money and time and so on and so forth. Then publishers say, yeah, I like this. Then it comes out and they're like, people don't like it. Or you have developers getting paid bonuses entirely on Metacritic scores, which I think is the most fucking ridiculous thing ever. But, you know, the relationship between the two is taking a turn for the worse, and I think that because of stuff like Kickstarter, we will actually still end up with quality games despite that. And hopefully people start answering with their money when that comes, so we can actually get quality product.
See, I'm right. See, gamers are buying crap, people are making crap. Everyone outside my tribe is an asshole, and they're out to get me.
No,
I told you.
There are good things too, Mansa. No.
I told you.
No. Then there are good things. There are things like Bastion. Bastion was an amazing game.
Supergiant is pretty much an indie developer, though. So
they are.
That doesn't necessarily count in your argument.
It counts that. I mean, there are good people out there.
I want a patch for Bastion where it's Prince's voice doing the narration. That's what I want. I want it so bad.
You know what? I might start doing the dialogue over.
It'd be great.
Maybe I can get a job doing that. That'd be amazing. Anywho, I think that's all we got for y'all tonight. Apologies for this being on an off day. Some real life things came up. People got a little busy, but expect to see us on the regular as usual on Sundays and such. So looking forward to seeing you all then. Anybody got anything else before we head out of here?
Good night, John Boy.
God, no, I'm not joining in on this.
Did I just date myself with that?
Yeah, you did.
I don't. What is that a reference to?
Damn it.
The fact that I know
Googling
that makes me sad. You got anything, Mayday?
Oh.
I do. It just depends on whether or not you want to hear it as far as input to the previous thing you guys had a rant on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You could have joined in any time. I talk too damn much anyway.
I guess it's more of an observational, like, realization, I guess.
Okay.
I figured this out when I started looking up the profit margin differences between EA and Activision, or Activision Blizzard, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
The beauty part about looking up those stocks and everything is that they have all of their shareholders listed and their entire backgrounds spelled out. And the only one that had anything going for him was Morheim, the guy who runs Blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
He's he is the only guy that has, I guess, a shred of personal knowledge with the industry because he holds a networking engineering degree, I believe. The problem with that is like, okay, he understands that aspect of it. And I mean, so he'll understand like the servicing and like the the server situations with all the stuff they need for their games and all that. Like that's cool. He understands that. The problem is, all of these publishers are basically ran by a bunch of suits. They don't have any damn knowledge whatsoever within programming or really much of anything relating to any kind of programming or development of software. So that's the problem I see with most of these publishers is just like they have zero idea. Okay, it's like, well, we don't think that'll sell well, and it's like, well, here's what we want you to do, and a developer just like drops his jaw like, you don't understand what you're asking for, do you?
Since you said that, I want to point out a quote that was in this article. It says, and I quote, "The publishing people all watch and make passive aesthetic appraisals of the active functional aspects of a game. This is because the bulk of execs can't and don't want to play or understand how games work." Boom.
Right.
Honestly, that's it right there.
Right, and I looked through all of the the majority shareholders of both EA and Activision, and they're, as far as like what they've gone and gotten like educated in, they don't know jack shit about the software development industry. Like,
how many of them are Harvard MBAs?
Very few, actually. And that's the other end of it too. Is like these guys are simply guys that got pulled into those positions because they held a high position somewhere else, and they said, "Well, we don't have anyone in company, so we'll take you. Why don't you come and run the company?" And that's what they've got right now. Like, and it'll take some years to get these guys filtered out, but you need some people that understand the software development process to get into those positions so they understand where they need to direct stuff. Because right now, they don't know their ass from their cheek. All right? They're just... they don't know what they're doing.
That's really what it all comes down to, and that's where the devs and the publishers have issues. Is the publishers don't know about video games, and so they don't know about video games, and they try to make video games like something else or something else they saw that was cool and other people bought. They're like, well, this sold, so this can sell if we do this. But nope. And so we won't get any innovation unless we put our money where our mouth says. So, with that, I think we'll call it a night. I am the Prince, and this is the MadCast. We will see you for episode 45. Chuck the deuces, people. We out.
Good night.
Good night. How does that?
Booyah.
Good stuff.
That was a good one. Good,
Nice.
good last minute switch up, Andromeda.
Sound muted.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 43 of the MadCast. I'm here with my co-host, MadCast.